The Raptors run out of steam and lose this one to the Chicago Bulls, 113-99. I'm Randy Urban, and welcome to Raptors Night Cap. Tonight we're joined by Jack Armstrong, Sherman Hamilton, and Leo Rautins. Leo, I'll start with you tonight. How did things change in that third quarter?
Honestly, Randy, I don't think it changed in the third quarter. From the beginning of the game, I just saw an easy game, right? Raptors were doing what they wanted fairly easily. Chicago was doing what they wanted easily. And it's not how Raptors play. And Raptors were never able to change that. It just the game just had an ease to it. And this team doesn't play easy. Their defense has to be aggressive. We saw it against Philadelphia last night. They got to be into you. They got to be aggressive. They got to be attacking. And they never got to that point in this game. And it's disappointing when you think about, a lot of factors that potentially hinge on a game like this, that they would have this kind of an effort despite being a back-to-back. This is one of those games where I think mentally you really got to go at it. And to me, it wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. Jack, would you agree that this is, not really about schematics? This was more of an energy and effort thing on the Raptors' part, lack thereof?
As well as the Bulls. I think the difference was that the third quarter, the Bulls really amped up their defense. They created turnovers. They created pace of play. And to Leo's point, I agree. And the Raptors game is just utter relentlessness. Pressure defensively, creating turnovers, creating extra opportunities on the offensive glass. And they just didn't have that look tonight. And when you don't have that look, this team has a hard time winning. Plus, they're just not making shots. I mean, you take Gary Trent Jr. and OG Anunoby out of the lineup. If I'm Billy Donovan, I'm taking my chances nonstop, sending a second defender at Siakam. I am being as physical as possible, putting as much size as possible on Fred VanVleet, and I'm picking him up, and I'm just dogging him everywhere. And to me, I'll take my chances on whoever those other three guys are on the floor. So the Bulls got them on their heels tonight, and the Raptors just didn't have it, and that's uncharacteristic for them.
Yeah, sure. They didn't offer, because of that, much resistance defensively tonight. Do you chalk that up to exhaustion?
You could see that they didn't have the legs that we're used to seeing them having. And, you could chalk it up to the second game of back-to-back. However, we've seen them perform very well in those scenarios. But to have one of these, it's understandable. And you could tell they didn't have that pop to their game like we've seen them have in the past. And we're used to them fighting through it, to be honest with you. We're used to seeing them battle that and being able to figure out a way to mitigate that fatigue and understand that they know how to win these kind of games. And they just didn't have it tonight. And, you think about who they don't have in the lineup, as Jack mentioned, no OG, obviously, and no Gary Trent Jr. In a game like this, you need one of those gunslingers, another guy who can just get out there and get something on their own. And Gary Trent wasn't there, even though he didn't play the best game last night. But, these games happen. It's unusual to see it happen to the Raptors. You tip your hat to Chicago. That third quarter, they created turnovers. They scored off turnovers. Zach LaVine got it going. And they were able to kind of extend that in the fourth quarter. So you got to move on. It was an important game. You got another one coming up on Thursday. So you got to shake this off and get focused for the next one.
Yeah. Yeah, Leo, Sherm's right? You take Gary Trent out of the lineup and you're taking out a possibility for 30 to 40 any night and being able to spread the floor. Was there a stat, Leo, that sort of stood out to you tonight that kind of, made it seem like, well, this was going to be tough to win when you do this?
Well, your Raptors, it's tough to win when you don't force turnovers, score off turnovers. It's tough to win when you're not shooting well, not getting to the offensive glass. And it's tough to win when your opponent's shooting basically 50% from the field, 40% from three. So, you added it all up. I mean, you're really talking about kind of an across-the-board performance. And then we said it, we've been saying it all season long. This team does not have a large margin for error. It's very slim. And when you have guys missing or a lack of effort or energy, whatever you want to call it, you're gonna struggle, right? And again, this is an important game. Now Chicago's got the tiebreaker. Cleveland's got the tiebreaker. They lost tonight to the Lakers. So, the only thing you can control at this point, if you want to be a playoff team and avoid a potential play-in game that, could be very difficult, you got to win. And, you can't worry about what other people doing. You just have to take care of your game. So tough night at the office,
Jack, you were a bit frustrated during the game on the one call that favored Vucevic. In the beginning of the season, the refs were allowing a little bit more natural contact at the rim and just in general. Are you seeing a little bit of a reversal in that as we've gone along?
I think they're allowing a lot on the perimeter compared to what we've seen in previous years. And then secondly, it's just a pet peeve of mine that, and Sherm, you've been around it, and Leo, referees love using the 3-point play as a bang signature call. Hey, look at me. It's like an umpire, punching you out on a strike 3 looking, I just think there's so many N1s in the NBA that aren't even fouls, but it's dramatic. It's good for get the crowd going and all that. I mean, but so that to me was just going off on something that's a pet peeve of mine. But I tell you what, the Bulls were really physical tonight on the perimeter with Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam. I mean, if you call the game from an officiating standpoint 3 years ago, and you incorporate it in tonight's game, the Bulls would be called for a number of fouls on the perimeter. And again, I'm not whining because the Raptors lost and the Bulls won fair and square. It's just a matter of consistency for both teams.
Sure. Positives. I thought Siakam, pretty good performance despite, back-to-back. And as we've all talked about, this is like the last game of this, extended road trip. He was still right there and effective when he needed to be.
Yeah, and Billy Donovan showed him a lot of attention based on how he's been playing. They threw a lot of bodies at Pascal. Even when they defended him with guys like Kobe White, who's significantly smaller than Pascal, that second guy was coming over and they were getting the ball out of his hands. So, Pascal has earned the respect of opposing coaches. They know how good he is. They understand how much he means to the Raptors' success. And I tell you what, no Gary Trent, no OG Anunoby. And I think you got about 3/4 of Fred. I don't think we got a full Fred tonight in the game. And the next step is to just go after Pascal and make sure he has to work. And they did that. But as usual, Pascal's figuring out different ways to have success, whether it be individually or trying to help his teammates. He's fighting through it. He's making good decisions. He's reading what the defense is trying to take away, and he's making the next play. So you tip your hat to Pascal. He's playing through a lot right now.
Kevin Birch spoke recently about not being healthy or fully healthy for pretty much the entire season. Do you feel like he's getting closer to that? He looked more comfortable the last few games.
Who's that, for me?
Yeah, I'm talking about Kevin.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't hear you.
Hey, join the show, Leo.
Hey. No comments down there. I was watching Jack on his excursion here.
Yeah, Jack's on the move.
I was trying to figure out where the heck he's going, but
where's Waldo?
So I don't think Cam is healthy. I mean, you could see that, right? He may be making improvements, and I admire the fact that he's been playing through all this. But you can see in his eyes. I mean, you don't want to to me, it's a guy that looks tired from being tired from just going through this over and over every day, trying to get to play. I've seen it. I know from personally, having been banged up and hurt a lot throughout my career, what that feels like. And to me, you could see it in his eyes. And it's just been kind of an exhausting season to keep fighting back from various ailments and injuries. And so, you do see him fighting through it. He's trying to, on occasion, he's getting a little bit more lively, making some shots. But, I feel for him because I think he had great expectations coming into the season, and it's been a real struggle for him.
Jack, I feel like I'm interrupting what you're doing there, but I got to ask you another question.
Did you make it to the bar?
I'm just walking to the bus.
Jack, just 10 games left now. How significant was this missed opportunity, or just characterize what the Raptors have left here ahead of them and what they need to do?
I choose to look forward, quite frankly, because to me, when I evaluate where they're at right now, they got 8 home games left, and they got 2 road games against teams that are going to be out of the race. There's opportunity here now. So as much as, you're going to have losses like this. This is almost like a scheduled loss. And to me, I look ahead, and I really feel confident that you got 10 left. This is a great opportunity ahead of you.
Sherm, you want to assess sort of the last little stretch here that we got coming up for the Raptors?
Well, I know the stress Jack's under, and Leo, you know it too. That bus is moving, and you don't want to be late for it. So I get it, Jack. Keep on moving, brother.
Jack, if you got to cut out, go. We only got a minute left.
Well, I'll say this. I like Jack. You look forward.
Catching a bus.
It's going to be a good stretch of home games for you to get things together. OG's going to have to play when he gets back on the floor. So there's a lot to look forward to, and you hope that they can get a healthy roster to finish at least 70% of the rest of these games and you move forward, because this has to be put in the rear for you, because Thursday might be an even more important game for the Raptors when you talk about the standings.
Yeah. And Leo, it's going to feel like trade deadline, like bringing in a bunch of players when you get OG back in this game. Like, he's a huge part of what they need to do here this season and going forward.
Sure, yes. Again, there's not a big margin for error. So whether it's getting OG, or whether it's Gary Trent Jr. being out, or Fred missing a game, all these things really matter to this team. The sooner you can get OG back for whatever contribution he can make, it all matters right now. It really does. So hopefully, at some point they'll have everybody on the floor.
All right, we're gonna say goodbye to all you guys. Jack, get on that bus, man.
You're walking up that ramp.
Just walk into the bus. Yeah.
Yeah, that
All
Chicago ramp. I know that one.
Yeah.
Next
Hey,
game
at
for
least
the
it's
Raptors.
not snowing. At least it's not snowing in Chi-Town.
Next game for the Raptors Thursday night. It's a big one. Back home against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tip-off goes at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I appreciate you guys doing this. Jack's on the move. I love it. See you next time.